Hey everybody, David G here. Did you know you could be entitled to more than $600 in compensation for delayed or canceled flights? I've successfully claimed more than once, and you can too. The key to claiming is a set of laws in the European Union called EU 261. It's basically the most passenger friendly air travel legislation in the world. And it applies if your flight is operated within the EU by an EU or not EU airline, if your flight arrives in the EU from outside the EU and is flown on an EU airline, if your flight departs from the EU to a non-EU country and is flown on an EU or non-EU airline, and if you didn't receive benefits based on some other law in a country outside of the EU. First off, it's good to know that the amount of compensation you can get is based on the amount of distance flown and the amount of time that you were delayed. So for a delay of 2 hours or more on flights of under 1,500 kilometers or somewhere around 900 miles, you can get 250 euros. Then for intra-EU flights of over 1,500 kilometers and over 3 hours of delay, or all other flights departing from the EU to a non-EU country of between 1,500 kilometers and 3,500 kilometers, you can get 400 euros. And then a delay of 4 hours or more on all other flights will get you 600 euros, which is around $650. Then if you're so delayed that you'll have to depart the next day in the end, you're also entitled to a hotel and transportation to get you to the hotel, food, and then a few other small things. I've personally claimed EU 261, quite a few times, but I'll just pull from a few examples. Last year, I was flying United from Berlin to Newark Airport, New Jersey, and the flight was delayed a bit over 4 hours. Basically, once I arrived, I just sent an email over to United saying, hey, look, your flight is eligible for EU 261. Can I have compensation? And it was pretty much as simple as that. They came back a few weeks later and said, yeah, you can have either 600 euros as dictated by law, or we'll offer you $1,000 in United credits or 50,000 United miles. I still took the cash because I valued it a bit more than the other two options they gave me, but often airlines will come back with a choice like that because it's going to cost them less to give you airline vouchers or miles. It's also worth noting that there are some extraordinary circumstances, such as some strikes or weather or air traffic control reasons, that they can deny your claim for. This happened to me once when I was flying TAP Air Portugal, and I departed again from Berlin Airport about 15 minutes late due to air traffic control. And I actually had a connection in Lisbon to go onwards to Marrakesh in Morocco, and I missed the connection. It was a very tight connection already. So I ended up arriving in Morocco like a good 5, 6, maybe 7 hours late. They also rerouted me on Royal Air Maroc instead of TAP. And then I went back and emailed TAP Air Portugal. It took them quite a long time to get back to me, not like United. And when I finally did hear back, they said, sorry, this claim is not valid. It was delayed because of air traffic control. So even though it was way over the amount of time that EU 261 sets as a threshold, it still wasn't valid because of air traffic control. On another occasion, I was really delayed flying from Berlin via Lisbon to the Azores, and I was able to claim because there was no extraordinary circumstance. I think that one got me 250 euros, so not over $600 in that case, but still worth claiming. If you've done some searches about EU 261 compensation, you've probably come up with like tons and tons of third-party services that will make your claim for you and then happily take around 30, 35, or even more % of what you get from the airline. My advice is to not go to them, or at least not go to them at first, and try claiming directly with the airline. Although some have been known to be a little bit harder to get in touch with than others, if you can claim directly, even if you have to wait a while, then you'll get all the money. If it's really been a long time, then you might want to look into one of those third-party companies that have maybe other contacts of the airlines. I don't know how they get in touch with them. And then you can give them a try and you'll still get something, but then it will, be minus 30 or 35%.
And to be honest, I couldn't tell you how many times I've had a chat with someone that had delayed or canceled flights that were actually eligible for EU 261, but just hadn't made a claim for it. One cool thing is that you can often claim years back. Dealing with a delayed or canceled flight that has nothing to do with EU 261, isn't to, within, or from the EU, I still recommend reaching out to the airline and just asking for compensation. Particularly in North America, I've always found that most airlines want to keep their customers and are pretty happy to give you some sort of compensation when they mess up. That said, I wouldn't expect compensation in the form of cash like EU261 gives you the right to, and you probably get less than what the equivalent is in miles or currency for one airline. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe.